Earlham football team will play their final game of the regular season coming up on Saturday. It's a game you can see right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports. Around 1:15 is our pregame time, 1:30 kickoff, again here on Radio Troy. We wanted to do something special this week. Wes Hundley is playing his final football game of his career coming up on Saturday as well. He, by the way, will go down as the all-time leading rusher in a single season for the Quakers, and he has had one very incredible senior season. It's great to have Wesley on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Another day. I love it. I love it.
I admire you, and I told Wes this a little bit ago. Your mental toughness, outside the physical toughness, I've admired, because I will watch you come off the field sometimes, and you're not a big fella, and you take a beating sometimes, and you go right back out there. Before we get into all of the intricacies of the game of football for you, where do you get your mental toughness at?
I mean, ever since I was in high school, I've always been smaller, so I've always been up against the bigger guys, and it's just a matter of you just got to know out there that I'm not gonna let one person take me down, and whether I'm hurt or not. I mean, like you said, I've watched all my games go by, and at this point, it's what do I got to wait for? I mean, no point saving myself anymore. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. A lot of players that I've watched over the years, and I've seen a lot of football in the last 33 to 35 have been covering, they don't do what you do, so there's something inside of you that says, you know what, I've got to go back out there, not just for myself, but for the team too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, like Coach always tells us, every day choose to be great, and I mean, I know that with my responsibility as the quarterback more than other positions, a lot of people depend on me, and as a senior and as someone who's started every game since I've been here, I mean, a lot of people depend on me for stuff, so I know that if I convey the positivity and like, hey, it's not that bad, it's not, everyone will eventually follow, and I mean, it shows we've progressively gotten better in certain areas that we've been lacking, and it's just a matter of getting the people we need.
You have what I would consider, just listening to you here briefly, a character that isn't known in all sports, though, that you really decide that team is first.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, honestly, ever since I started, I've always known it's always a team sport. I mean, as we've seen throughout the years, we've had good players, and you could have a couple good players, but that doesn't mean you're going to win games. So you need the whole team. And football, more than any other sport, I feel like you really do need the team, because it takes one person missing something and the whole play can fall apart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the team matters, so you got to keep team morale up, especially in times like this.
We're going to talk about your final game and what that means to you in a little bit, but for those that don't know, it's an interesting story how you ended up at Earlham.
Yes.
I would have never guessed that at all.
Yeah. So for me, I was actually planning on joining the military straight out of high school. I took the ASVAB, and I got called, and they said, hey, like, you did really good. So I was like, oh, there's a lot of benefits of joining the military and stuff. So I applied to West Point and the Air Force Academy, and I got in, and it was all I was waiting on was just a matter of going. And I got a phone call from the old offensive coordinator, Coach Mills, and he was like, hey, how about we fly you out here and you just see if you like it? And I mean, I met a bunch of the linemen, and they just showed me, I had a great time with them, and we watched wrestling. But it's something memorable that you just don't forget, and you just have a great time with them, and I just didn't want to give up football. So ultimately, that's what it came down to.
Sack wasn't involved in that, was he? Being a big wrestling guy?
No, not Coach Sack, Coach Mills. No, they don't like wrestling at all.
Oh yeah, not at all. But that's unusual. Well, first off, it's a great honor to get those appointments, because that doesn't happen every day. But to get those appointments, but then also change your mind and decide to go this direction, because you wanted to play football 4 more years. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I knew if I left and joined the military, I mean, football was over. And at the time, I was thinking about it, and I just wasn't ready to give it up. So I figured, why not try to continue my 4 years, get an education out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Earlham's really good for their education, especially in chemistry, which is where I'm going.
Yeah.
And I just figured, 4 more years of it, and then I'll finally hang it up.
I kind of think about that a little bit when you come to Earlham to play football and want to continue that career. You know, it's only going to be the 4 years, and then you move on. But something you said to me, you're thinking about maybe going back into the military.
Yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, right now I'm leaning towards joining the Marines, and since I have all the academic stuff, I would be able to go in as an officer and stuff, and
Okay.
pursue hopefully chemistry or something like that. But I've also got calls from Army recruiters constantly telling me to go meet with them. So I mean, I'm gonna go talk to them and see whoever offers me the best. But yeah, my plan is no matter what, I'm gonna after May, I'm gonna probably be somewhere.
Well, you got to be one of the toughest Marines out there. I mean,
I have been told. I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, my stepdad was a Marine, and a lot of my family on my mom's side, they've served in the Army, the Navy, and certain stuff. And I just feel like it's your civic duty to serve.
yeah. Well, it's interesting though. You know, listen, it's a small world, we know, but just to think about where you've come from in 4 years and where you may be in the next 4 years, it happens quick, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, like we talked about earlier, I have those moments where I'm sitting in the classroom, and like you said, you know, freshman year, sophomore year, they're like, you know, hey, look at the class, look, because we had it, when we started, it was freshmen in the back and then the older guys in the front.
Yeah.
So they'd say, you know, look at the guys up front. They only got 10 more games, and the next row 20, and the next row 30. Next year, you're going to be upper row.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like you said, as a freshman, sophomore, you're like, I still got all this time. But, I mean, now it's like I got 48 hours.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, it is. What will you think when, no matter the outcome on Saturday, when you finally take that helmet off for the last time and you're sitting in the locker room and the gear comes off for the last time, what will go through your mind?
I know it's after the game, it's definitely going to take a long time for me to even get in the locker room.
Yeah.
It's going to be a slow walk, I know. I mean, I've talked to a bunch of my, Rod and Jake, the offensive linemen who are seniors, and we've had our talks where it's like, I've already told them, like, hey, you know, I love you.
Yeah.
I want you to know I'm going to miss you already. And it's, we're already kind of starting to see it, and it's just, and all the other kids, it's like, hey, you know, just stick it out. But, I mean, I've made some of the best friends I've had here. And even in my freshman year, and I've had seniors who I still talk to, and it's just, we've only had a year, but because of football, you get that family like the military has.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
I mean, it's going to be rough, but I know when I take it off, it's going to be a lot of tears.
Yeah, yeah, and I've heard that before, and there's nothing certainly worse to me than taking it off for the last time, for sure.
Yeah. And then, I mean, me and Coach Johnson have been through, I mean, so much, because after my first year, he's been here basically ever since. Yeah. And I know we've been through a lot, so it's going to be tough seeing him, because I know he's going to have some tears too, so it's going to make me want to cry too again.
We might all be crying by the end of that one.
It's going to be rough, but I mean, I wouldn't trade it, no matter even the record. I wouldn't trade it, because I've had a great experience here with the people and the coaches. Did you kind of, when you came in, you're thinking football, but when you left, it became more than football, didn't it? I knew coming in, since I chose Earlham, education was going to be very important, because like I said, chemistry, I know this school was really good, that's why I came here. And then football, I knew was just always a plus, and I mean.
But you got those life relationships now.
I got relationships. I've talked to many of my teachers in the chemistry department who are already helping me out with stuff post, and I'm actually starting, especially now that I'm a senior, that next year it's, you know, you're graduating, so
that reality
the reality of actually finding a job and stuff.
How would you describe your 4 years of football? It hasn't been easy. I mean, let's be honest about it.
It's been rough.
Yeah, it's been a tough time, and I understand that. And I wouldn't wish that upon any athlete, what you guys have gone through. But how would you describe it?
Honestly, despite all of it, it's been a great experience, because, you know, even after a loss, which, you know, there's many, it's like you get together, and it's, as a team, we still get through it. And I mean, after all we've been through, we have 7 guys when we came in with 25, so you slowly see the people leave. So it's what all of the other upperclassmen before me told me. It's about the team, and you see who your real brothers are, the ones who wrote it out. So, I mean, the family aspect of it really does mean a lot to me.
Yeah, you know, and I respect that too, and I think anybody who knows anything about sports respects that. Any teams that go through the tough times, those that hang in there till the end, are what I consider the real winners. And I think you would too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, It's always it really is, because I mean we've seen a lot of adversity. We've had a lot of people come in and come out, and they just can't handle it. But like Coach Coach Johnson tells us every day, we're trying to do more than just football here, because I mean we are Division III. We're not getting. Not many of us are going to get signed or go anywhere after that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the lessons Coach Johnson tries to bring to us are to break out of football and as we move on.
It is about the love of the game, right? I mean, it really is.
I mean, especially at this point, at the level we're at, and I mean, there's just playing the game. It is about just the love of it and not wanting to give it up.
You started out as a quarterback.
Came in as a quarterback, then first year receiver.
Yeah.
And then second year played quarterback, and then third year receiver and running back. But by the end of that year, I was quarterback again. So this year came in as the only quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of different positions. The only thing I haven't done is defense, which sometimes I'm on the sideline and I'm like, hey, Coach Lee, put me.
Well, why not? Give me one more chance. Put a little DB in there or something.
Yeah, but it's great. I've loved it. I've gotten to play everything, but when I came in as a receiver, and there was a game speed change, so getting to see it as a receiver, you get to see more the routes and the holes and the defense where the passing lanes are, and I think that helped me moving from a senior in high school to my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Being able to actually see where the ball needs to be in some of the areas and how the defense reacts to certain things, I think that really helped me out.
What I liked about that is that you were willing to make those changes and willing to move to another position to help the team, and that's not always something that a lot of people, hey, I want to be a quarterback and that's it. So doing that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was always, because even in high school, I was, like I said, I was small. I was always short. I was undersized. So in much of high school, I was able to do a lot of the same thing because I was an athlete, and I was able to pass. I was able to catch. I was able to run. So they would put me at different places. So when I came here, I was just, like I said, happy to play.
Yeah.
I'd rather play 10 games than sit my first 10 games out.
Yeah, no kidding.
So, I mean, I have that experience. Like I said, I have the experience and more than most people have to say I've played 40 college games.
Yeah, no kidding. Wow.
Started every one.
Every one of them.
Every one. And, I mean, whether it's at a different position, I mean, there was never any bad blood of like the coaches that, oh, why am I out here? I'm not going to get my shot. It's just I'm here to help the team, and I get to play and get to make people on the other team look bad.
Yeah, there you go. You set, and you do, by the way. Right? Some guys go after you and they never catch you, and I'm thinking, boy, they must really be frustrated on that side.
Yeah, I love it. I love after the game them all coming up to me and telling me like, hey, I almost had you. I'm like, yeah, almost.
Don't quite count, does it?
Nope.
Yeah. You set a record this year.
I did, and I mean, I couldn't have done that without, I mean, the offensive line, and we went into it knowing, like I said, I was the only quarterback, and we had a lot of young running backs that we were trying to work in there, and I knew that coming in, I was one of the bigger offensive threats on our team, so I knew a lot of people were going to look at me. But as I've played other positions, I have the ability to run, and if I see it, I mean, I'll use it, especially when it works.
Yeah. Well, you're close to 1,000 now.
Yes.
You'll probably get it on Saturday. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment for a quarterback to rush for 1,000 yards.
I mean, I knew going into it, like I said, with the way our offense worked out and the personnel that we had, there was going to be a lot of the zone reads that gave me the option to run based on reads or quarterback runs, because over the years I've proven I can run the ball. And with the play calling, it's helped with that. And the line, we finally are starting to get a real offensive line, because I know last year was a struggle because personnel-wise, so we had to put people at line that have never played line or undersized. So we finally got some actual linemen this year, which really helps. So hopefully if we keep getting people, we can show that. I mean, the start of the year, we were scoring and we were out there and we were putting, and it was because we had these people finally that could actually be in their position versus out of position. Yeah,
I would imagine Mr. Flores didn't like playing too much that offensive line.
No, probably not, considering that he wanted to be a running back.
And now he's a DB, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and that just goes to show, he did what he was always told. He came in, I think, the same mindset as me. I just want to play, and if I got to play, like you said, he didn't want to play lineman. He hated it, but he did it for the team. And, I mean, like you said, that shows a lot about the type of person that he is. Yeah,
it certainly does. Let me ask you, before I let you go, because he still has to go to class, by the way, I found out. What advice do you give to the kids that are coming in And to those that are coming back for their next football season, what do you tell them?
I mean, just you gotta stick together. That's what it comes down to. That's what I was told ever since I've been in, is if you stick together, you guys have a chance, because our problem has always been numbers.
Yeah.
And the biggest concern of that is always the return of people just not willing to look at what we have now and seeing where we can go.
Yeah.
It's always we're in the now, and it's we're not good now, so we're never gonna be good. But that's not how things work. Everything, life, everything, you go up, you go down, and you gotta sometimes, ride through the downs, and there's always gonna be something good on the other side, and that comes from in the off season. You gotta get at it. You gotta work. You gotta put in as much work as you can. Try to change your body. Try to get better, and just don't quit.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Don't quit on your brothers too.
Yeah, exactly. And because of instant gratification for people, if it's not right now, they're not willing to stick it out in the long term.
Especially because a lot of people. Some people come from colleges where high schools where they were good. Or just the background that you get, because Earlham's so diverse and where they bring people from, and so a lot of people, it's like, oh, I'm not used to losing, or oh, I don't want to be on something like this.
Yeah.
And you just got to fight through it and know that with what we have, we can be good. You just got to stick it out. We all got to ride together.
My last thing, this is, we're doing this interview in what they call the Hall of Fame room. I believe someday you're going to be in here because of, your character and what you've done for Earlham football. What would that mean to you to be in the Earlham football or Earlham Hall of Fame?
Honestly, that'd mean a whole lot to me. That's all anyone can ever want, is to be looked upon in that way, that even after you leave, it's like, oh, who's that guy?
Yeah.
Being able to see, oh, who that guy is, and having people around who are like, oh yeah, when he played, he did this, and he was a part of this. And I would love to be a part, even though, I have a terrible record of being the spot where we finally turned around.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, it wasn't good, but at this point, this is when we finally all were starting to come back.
Exactly.
I would love to look back a couple years from now and be able to say, like, oh, Earlham's doing better, and I'm glad that I was able to lay the groundwork, even though
part of that foundation, right?
Even though I didn't get to enjoy it, I'm glad that we were able to turn it around.
Nice thing about that is you're willing to enjoy that for others.
Yeah, like I said, it's always about the team. It's always about the family, and Coach Johnson's brought that a lot to us with the whole outside of football.
I think you'll be here one of these days.
That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
I'll look forward to seeing you in your final game coming up on Saturday, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to try to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Love to win that sword.
Yeah, no kidding. And then set more records.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
That'd be great, too.
Hopefully we can get Coop in the record books.
Yeah, there you go. He's having a great year, too. He certainly is.
He sure is.
Well, again, the Quakers, Wes will be playing his final game. The other seniors playing their final game as well, coming up on Saturday. Again, it's a 1:30 kickoff. We'll be on the air at around 1:15 right here on Radio Troy Digital Sports.